My friends, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for responding to my call for aid. YouTube is now reportedly placing a heavy emphasis on viewer engagement, saying that views without engagement count less or not at all with the algorithm. I shared this info with you and you responded in outstanding fashion, rallying to our banner here at the center of the earth. But the fight is not over. Please keep helping us out by clicking the like button on videos, leaving a comment, subscribing, or even sending a super thanks, as all of these count as viewer engagement and help us keep going on YouTube. Thank you so much for your support, my friends. And now, on to the video. My friends, I received the joyous news last night, much too late to release a video, but I got up out of bed this morning with a spring in my step, a song in my heart, and a smile on my face for the whole human race, because justice has prevailed, a wrong has been to all appearances righted, and Gina Carano has settled her lawsuit against Disney. That's right, my friends, it's been 4 long years in righting this wrong. 4 grueling years when Gina, who played Cara Dune, the most popular character on The Mandalorian, was fired from the show for basically nothing at all, for some innocuous tweets making a point the powers that be found unsavory. As a result of this firing, she was cast out of Hollywood, losing representation, job opportunities. She was basically canceled, my friends, and yet, through all that, she demanded justice. She was not going to go quietly into the rotten night, exiled and shamed, so she sued the mouse to reclaim her good name and lost career opportunities. Years passed, my friends, and then, late yesterday, the following statement was issued by Disney. The Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm are pleased to announce that we have reached an agreement with Gina Carano to resolve the issues in her pending lawsuit against the companies. Ms. Carano was always well respected by her directors, co-stars, and staff, and she worked hard to perfect her craft while treating her colleagues with kindness and respect. With this lawsuit concluded, we look forward to identifying opportunities to work together with Ms. Carano in the near future. And here is what Gina posted in reply. I have come to an agreement with Disney Lucasfilm, which I believe is the best outcome for all parties involved. I hope this brings some healing to the Force. I want to extend my deepest, most heartfelt gratitude to Elon Musk, a man I've never met, who did this good Samaritan deed for me in funding my lawsuit. Thank you, Mr. Musk and X, for backing my case and asking for nothing in return. To my lawyers at Share Jaffe, who walked me through this unknown territory, thank you for your wisdom and guidance. I am humbled and grateful to God for his love and grace in this outcome. I'd like to thank you all for your unrelenting support throughout my life and career. You've been the heartbeat that has kept my story alive. I hope to make you proud. I am excited to flip the page and move on to the next chapter. My desires remain in the arts, which is where I hope you will join me. Yes, I'm smiling. From my heart to yours, Gina.
Dude, look, I'm happy for her, but when I heard this, I thought to myself, well, shit, there goes Discovery. I mean, wasn't the whole point of this to get to the bottom of what drove her firing? Who was actually behind it and what they actually hoped to gain? I mean, how much money did she get? What are the terms of this settlement?
That remains unknown, Harvey Cthulhu, and that's frequently the case in settlements where the terms, amounts, and conditions are not disclosed. But, judging by Gina's statement, she seems quite satisfied and happy. She says she's smiling, and after all, isn't that what's important? Gina Carano was the one who was wronged. Gina Carano is the one whose life was damaged by this bullshit. We, of course, as bystanders, wanted to understand more about the story and the larger implications, but ultimately she was the one injured, and if she's happy with it, then you know what? I think that should be enough for all of us. And aside from that, as famous as Gina Carano is, compared to the Walt Disney Company, she's the little guy here. and in forcing them to settle and publicly state they consider her employable again, settlement or not, she won. And in a real way, this is a victory for all little guys in this corporate oppressed world. Surely you can see that, Harvey.
Well, yeah, I guess, but does this mean she's coming back to the Mandalorian? I mean, what details do we actually know, dude?
Not a whole lot, Harvey Cthulhu, but the trades are all reporting this and distorting it as well. I swear, there are a lot of backhanded insults to Gina hidden in these supposed objective newspaper articles, like this one in the New York Times. Get a load of this shit, folks. The Walt Disney Company has written a check and all but issued a public apology to make one of its messiest legal battles disappear. Disney and its Lucasfilm division said Thursday that they had resolved a dispute with the actress Gina Carano, who sued the entertainment companies for wrongful termination from The Mandalorian in 2023. Financial terms were not disclosed. Ms. Carano filed the suit after Lucasfilm dropped her from the hit show The Mandalorian for posting conspiracy theories and right-wing views, some of which were seen as transphobic and anti-Semitic on social media. Now, WT actual F is that? What conspiracy theories? I don't recall that at all, folks. Gina Carano is not a conspiracy theorist, but that's kind of a standard all-time greatest hits slur against people any organization uses to discredit someone. And anti-Semitic. See, no one who actually read what she said could possibly consider it anti-Semitic, but this is a nasty phrase they love to deploy to publicly air, even with the disclaimer, some of which were seen as transphobic and anti-Semitic on social media, in order to torpedo the subject, you see? Even saying those kinds of things kind of smears you by default, like the classic lawyer cross-examination question to a victim on the stand, Mr. Jones, do you still beat your wife? Well, there is no possible answer to that, is there? I think it's sickening. They kind of slip these nasty little digs in there to try to rain on her victory parade, but you know what? It's not working. Because despite the fact we didn't get the discovery we craved, Gina is happy, and by God, we must be happy for her. The New York Times continues, quote, her firing caused an outcry among many conservatives who said Disney was punishing Ms. Carano for exercising her First Amendment rights. Elon Musk, the billionaire owner of X, where Ms. Carano had published some of her posts, said last year that he would pay her legal costs, unquote. This next part of the article is rather interesting because it's revealing how the media portrays what's going on with Disney right now. Quote, the settlement comes amid a political move to the right at the world's largest entertainment company. Over the past years, Disney has backed away from some of the progressive messaging it adopted in shows and films earlier in the decade. Like other companies, Disney also changed the diversity component of how it rates its executives and makes compensation decisions. Ms. Carano's character was written out of The Mandalorian in 2021. At the time, Lucasfilm, the Disney division that makes a Star Wars affiliated series, said in a statement that her, quote, social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable, unquote.
Which was complete and total bullshit. You know, for Disney to have settled this, it must mean that whatever was in those emails that would have come out in Discovery was so horrible that they would much rather go ahead and settle and back away slowly than allow Gina to go digging through their files.
Absolutely, Harvey. As a result of that bullshit about denigrating people. She'd never denigrated anybody, folks. That's a complete lie. Gina Carano is a force of good in the world. She is extremely positive, optimistic, and caring. She has never denigrated anyone. But as a result of those kinds of comments, Gina was dropped by her Hollywood agency, her film work dried up, and she was forced to deal with lies and smears against her, humiliation, rejection, and financial losses. Yet throughout the ordeal, Gina Carano remained a true lady. a bright spirit who radiated positivity and light even in the toxic cesspool of social media. She had every reason to be bitter, but she never succumbed to bitterness. Gina Carano behaved much like the character she portrayed behaved. Gina Carano behaved like a hero, like a role model. Cara Dune lost everything when Alderaan was destroyed, and Gina lost her career and, for a while, her good name. And despite articles like this one, trying to invoke the specters of those smears, Gina Carano, in my eyes, is vindicated by this settlement and by Disney's statement, since if she was guilty of the things of which she was accused, they wouldn't have indicated any willingness to cast her again, also tends to clear her name. Even if that willingness is mere puffery dictated by the settlement, stating it publicly as a proclamation of innocence, since they would never work with someone accused of those things. We may never know the terms of the settlement, and yes, many of us are disappointed that there was a settlement, but as I stand here today, I am so happy for you, Gina, and underneath this helm I'm smiling, knowing that you're smiling. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry.
Ha 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 ha.